Do you guys want some tea? You look parched. I'm gonna give you some tea. Hey guys, it's Jess from She's the Posh. Welcome back. And today I have a story time video for you. So this is where I'm going to talk about renting my own personal collection out for money and everything that has gone wrong. A lot of things have gone right, but I thought you would be interested in hearing some of the ugliness of what can go wrong when renting out your items to basically strangers. I am going to try to do a collection video, but because I do rent my items out, it's hard. Not all my items are ever actually all in one place at one time. So I'm probably gonna do maybe collections for you. But I thought I would start with, because I've gotten a lot of questions, especially with me talking about what happened with Rebag. I did mention that I rent my items out. That's what I like to do. Trade items in Rebag or sell them when they're no longer, making me money and I'm no longer wearing them. And that's also why I have such a large collection of about 50 bags. And that might seem excessive, but they do make me money. I've been on a couple platforms. So I first started Unveiled, and that was okay in the beginning. They had actually reached out to me. I'd started out slowly and I started making really good money with them. However, I had two things go wrong and I ended up leaving the platform altogether, and they went under in about a year. So based on some of the experiences I had, it was no surprise because I always kind of talk about them or think about them when I think about Rebag and all the things that they've done wrong and what Unveiled did wrong, and Unveiled went under. So it makes me believe that either Rebag, the same thing will happen to them if they don't change, or they'll get bought out by somebody. But I used Unveiled. I had two big problems that happened to me. The first problem was someone tried to switch my Fendi earrings for fake Fendi earrings. Yeah, it was insane. And it's insane how I knew, because the super fakes, they're getting really, really good at it. So the person I lent my earrings out to, and I got them, and they came back, and as soon as I picked them up, I knew they weren't mine. It's crazy how you just know, but always trust your gut. So I went there and I'm like, they don't feel like mine, because I'm actually someone that actually physically touches things. You do that, like when I wear my earrings, I'll like rub them, or there's things that I do because it's like self-soothing. Fendi earrings, I used to rub them all the time and they were super smooth. Like when you look around, they were super smooth. And the earrings that I got back were rough. They were not super smooth. So I knew right away. Here are the gold ones. And now you can I got them pretty lined up. So I think they're easier to tell now. And I think you can see that kind of, if I move in the light, you can see how the fake one has this like line through the center. And you can see the difference in the components, like this size. But isn't that amazing that real authentication could like figure that out? Because they're so similar, but when you see them next to each other, you can see the difference between them. And in that line that's down the center. But oh my gosh, and the color is a little bit different. You can tell. And I think I can tell like a difference between the Fendi, how it's pronounced, that one, and the other one. And you were right about the color. There is a difference. But isn't that crazy? Like you can see how the authentic one that's in front, how the clasp is like bigger. But how freaking close are they getting, girl? Like, how did I know this was different? It was mostly, I want to say most of it was like the roundness, because like I could just tell this one was soft and smooth because I would touch them. Like I'm one of those people that will touch their earrings, and this didn't feel right. That is crazy how good. And there, you can see that line right there, where this one doesn't have that line. I didn't end up getting my money back for the piece. I just took it as a loss. I bought myself new ones. It was around $500, but to me, I was like, I've made $8,000 on the platform. So I also consider renting my items out an investment, and sometimes you lose money on investments, just like businesses. I own businesses. Sometimes you lose money, sometimes things get stolen, things like that. So that's how I think about it. So when I rent items out, it's not items that I can't replace or that I would be devastated if they were missing. I wasn't happy with that, but I decided to stay with the platform because the money was so good. I mean, $8,000 in less than a year. And this last disaster, someone lost a Chanel or got stolen while she had it. She did not have enough money to replace it. So we ended up doing a payment plan. She ended up paying. So she started to do the right thing. A payment plan for a little bit for my vintage Chanel that she lost or got stolen from her, because her story be cray. She said she was at a baby shower, and at that baby shower she fainted, and then she went on the ambulance, and because of it being COVID times, all of her items got quarantined, including said Chanel bag. And she's been asking for the bag back and nobody knows where it is. The bag got taken somewhere, whereas when she was at the shower, either someone stole it at the baby shower or it got stolen at the hospital, which is just like it just kept going, this story. But I got payments until Stylin went under. So the Chanel was worth around $3,000 at the time, and I got around $2,000 back for it, and I had bought it for $1,800. So it ended up being a wash. But I decided to leave the platform because I didn't like how the company changed their terms and conditions, similar to what Rebag did, like changed them, made them sneaky, and didn't inform me of it. And I was their biggest lender they had on the platform. And that is not okay with me. For me, I value transparency. I value someone just being honest with me and talking to me. If a loss happens, a loss happens, but I want you to be transparent and I want to talk about it, which is why I like the platform that I am currently on now, even though things have gone wrong, right? For me, I just value someone being honest and working hard for me. That's what I want, even though losses have happened. Platform I'm currently on is Tulerie. So this is a private platform, guys. So that means not everybody can join. You do have to be pre-approved. So you fill out an application. You are going to give out your information, give out your socials. You're going to give out your information. They need to know you're a real person. You're going to have to do a FaceTime interview with them. And I loved this so much better because on the other platform, anyone could sign up. Yes, you had to give up your information, you had to do your ID and stuff, but there was not this in depth. Also, I didn't make tons of money up front because it's a private platform. There's less people on it. So here are the things that have gone wrong on the platform, but I've always got fast responses, and I've always had Tulerie's customer service call me directly when things go wrong. Now, it is similar that if something gets lost in the mail, Tulerie is not going to pay for it. So the first thing that happened is my bum bag and a sweater of my Balenciaga pink sweater and my original bum bag got lost in the mail. And I had to go through a whole process. And this is the first time anything had ever gotten lost in Tulerie. It was a complete loss for me. I was really sad. It was in the first couple months, and I was really hoping within the first year of being there that it would come back to me. So my bum bag, I bought it when it was around $1,600, and the sweater I'd gotten on sale for around $500. So it was a little over $2,000 loss. So for me, I decided, they were really nice about it. They were checking with USPS. And I said, I don't feel comfortable shipping my expensive bags to USPS. So they switched to FedEx, where I had tracking and weight. And I haven't had a problem with shipping with FedEx. So they decided that they were going to make special labels just for me, for my things, to be sent FedEx. Because on their platform, they have an USPS automatically generated. So they go out of their way to order me special labels for my items. And for me, what they did to make me feel comfortable after something bad happened, I valued. And I made up that money and then some my first year on the platform. I want to say my first year with them, I made a little over $6,000 with that loss. So that was pretty good. Some other things that will happen with lending items out is I did have a few influencers that I just don't care for influencers sometimes, not all of them, but there is a lot of influencers on the platform that will go to events and they rent items out. I had beauty queens on there. I have rented out to a Real Housewife of the Potomac. She rented out my beautiful sparkly Prada bag, and that's currently being rented out now, so that's why it's not in the background. But she had rented that out. It's like really cool for me, getting to see my items like styled by other people. And the influencers, I had a problem with one recently. This one influencer rented my item. She's rented my item several times before, but she is someone that is always late sending the items back. She has a building that she will send her stuff to. And I don't really like that. I wish that if it's my stuff, I think that instead of dropping the stuff off the building, have the building drop it off at FedEx or wrap it up for you. It's just, I don't know. Just wrap it up and send it out yourself. Well, this said influencer said she dropped my box off at her front desk, and then that front desk gave it to FedEx. When I received the item, the box was sealed, but there was nothing in it, and it was sealed with regular Scotch tape, as you see here. Regular Scotch tape, guys. Not packaging tape, Scotch tape. So my Lulu that was in there, my Lulu suede was missing. And I saw the box. I'm like, it's maybe Scotch tape. So when she told me that she had dropped it off at the front desk, I'm like, front desk person stole it. And because there wasn't packaging tape, I figured they didn't have packaging tape. She had them seal it and ship it out themselves. So they stole it and they just sealed it with regular tape, because when I opened it up, it just peeled right away. Now, if it would have been stolen by FedEx, or if it had been like fallen out during shipment because the tape was so flimsy, I would think that FedEx would reseal it, because it wasn't a broken seal, which is why I believe that it was probably stolen by her front desk. That's also because the front desk manager, when she confronted him, she said that he said she can collect the insurance on it. Why don't she do that? Like, that's totally fine. But the thing is, front desk worker, if the box is packaged in regular Scotch tape and not packaging tape, they will not do the insurance because it wasn't packaged properly. So I can't get the insurance based on how it was packaged. So I have messaged her a couple times. I was just very heated, and I asked about the Scotch tape, and she said she was the one that did the Scotch tape. But it's strong, it's heavy duty Scotch tape. So I told Tulerie, and Tulerie said they agreed with me. They said she did not ship it back proper. She is responsible for the loss of the bag, so they charged her for it. She reached out to me and she says, Tulerie is charging me for this bag. That is so unfair. And I'm like, so you think I should have to pay for it? For what you did? It's just ridiculous, influencers. However, this Tulerie did side with me on that one, which I totally appreciate. The only problem is she disputed the charge with her bank. And right now, Tulerie is fighting with the bank to try to get the funds for it. So we're going to wait and see. She is just an entitled brat. And it just goes to show, when you look at influencers and you're seeing their fancy clothes, you're seeing their bag, most likely they don't own it. It's rented. It was gifted to them. So never feel jealous of that. Next is the last thing that has happened, but it has a happy ending. So let's finish with a happy ending. So I had rented out to someone on the platform. And again, they have to give out all the information. You have to be a real person. You have to have no criminal history. Like, there has to be a thing. So this one person reaches out to me and she borrows one of my bracelets. It's not very expensive. And she rented it out. And it was her first time renting with me. And I don't rent my expensive bags out to someone that's never rented from me before and who doesn't really have a strong history. So since she was new, I was comfortable renting a bracelet out to her. She was very nice. She said, oh, I received it. It's beautiful. And then she had shipped it back. And I saw the tracking. But what I should have done, and this is my mistake, I should have waited until the item came back to me, not just the fact that it was shipped out. And then she had requested a handbag. And I was like, you know what, I can do that. She was very nice, all this stuff. And I went ahead and I shipped out my vintage Chanel. So it's not one of my super expensive ones, but my vintage Chanel out to her. She gets it. And this is before I even got the bracelet. The bracelet was coming the next day back to me. And she gets the Chanel and it's vintage. So she's like, is this real? And I was like, well, that's kind of rude. And I was like, yes, it is real. I said, if you open it up, you'll see that the numbers or where they were located, you look there, it's just a vintage bag. So it's a little bit different than probably what you're used to. And I figured she doesn't know Chanel bags. So I gave her that information. I also, like a dummy, I thought it would be fun. So I put it in the vintage dust bag because I thought she would just really appreciate seeing that, because I love that stuff. I love seeing the vintage dust bag, that kind of stuff. The bag was from the early 90s. How fun. And I always wrap up the items. I always want to make someone feel so special to be able to wear my pieces, because I am a sap and I love fashion and all that stuff. And I want to share that experience with people. So I did that. She's like, oh yes, thank you. So then the next day I get the box back for the bracelet and it was empty. No bracelet in it, nothing. And I contacted Tulerie right away and I said, the bracelet isn't in it, and it was sealed. It was sealed very well. So there's no way that it fell out or it was not tampered with. There was so much tape on there. It was so hard for me to get it open. So she said, oh, I shipped it. It must have got lost. So I figured she was trying to say that it got lost in the mail. So she was trying to keep the bracelet. So now she has my Chanel. So I was freaking out. I'm talking to Tulerie and I'm like, she is my Chanel. She's not giving me my Chanel back. So they talked to her and then they get her to admit that she has the bag and my bracelet still, which we knew. We had all that. She doesn't end up shipping my Chanel back. And I'm like, oh my goodness, can't believe this is happening. So I didn't know all this was happening behind the scenes, but I did have to fill out a police report. I filled out a police report. I gave her information. She's a real person. She's not fake. I don't know what her end game was for this, But what they did, which was so clever, is Tulerie had her profile because everything's on Instagram, and they looked at every single secondhand shop that she followed. She was in New York and they were based out of New York. So they called every single shop. And because I have my numbers, my Chanel numbers, I have the pictures of my vintage bag, and I had the numbers and everything, and we have her name. They called every single consignment shop and they found my bag at one of the consignment shops. She was the one that dropped it off. It had my dust bag, everything, and the numbers matched. So it was a consignment shop, which means she was going to get paid after they sold it. The shop returned it fast to Tulerie. This lasted about a couple weeks. Tulerie gave me and shipped my bag back next day. It was all fine. Yes, that's a sad, scary situation, but it just proves that it's a closed platform. Stuff is going to go wrong. But the fact that they have my back and the fact that they were going to do so much to make sure my property was returned to me is which is why I'm staying on there. I did take a break for a couple months because I was just like, I can't believe this is too much drama with the Chanel. The Chanel got returned to me. I'm back at it again. It's kind of fun because I have, stylists and different people that are from all over. And I had a pair of my shoes that were recently worn in the Rebel Moon premiere by one of the actresses in there. And I just think that stuff's fun and cool. And yes, bad stuff is going to happen. But for me, my love of fashion, and you make money, it's an investment, and it's a way to actually make my investment pieces investments. So yeah, guys, that is my story of all the things that have gone wrong when I have been renting my pieces out, but why I still do it. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Give me your thoughts below. Would you ever rent your items out? Do you think it's cool? My shoes are famous and they were worn by an actress in a Netflix movie. Let me know. Discuss. And as always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again. Bye, guys.